All right. Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's Board of Curators meeting, including those joining on live stream. As a courtesy, I ask everyone to speak directly into the microphone to ensure that everyone can hear. Valerie, please call the roll.
Curator Blitz,
Here.
Curator Fry,
Here.
Curator Graves,
Here.
Curator Grusin,
Here.
Curator Lehman,
Here.
Curator Lukemeyer,
Here.
Curator Rains,
Here.
Curator Sinkfield,
Here.
Curator Williams.
Here.
You have all members present.
All right. We have a quorum. I'd like to now ask everyone to rise and join Curator Fry in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. The first item on the agenda is the chair report, and thank you, President Choi, for having us on Mizzou's campus for such an eventful weekend. I just saw the SEC bus drive by, and that's exciting weekend. It's exciting to renew the MU College to the West rivalry. It's definitely one for the history books, and I'm sure that I speak for everyone in this room when I say that I can't wait for the festivities tonight and tomorrow. I was walking on campus yesterday, and there's definitely a lot of energy, and maybe it's that way I'm not usually on a campus, so maybe it's always that way on a sunny fall afternoon, but it was fun to see. This morning, I have the honor of introducing this year's Remington R. Williams Award recipients from Mizzou. Remington, our late student representative of the board, was a leader for students all across all four universities, and an outstanding representative of us. He was certainly a wonderful person to serve with, and a promising young man whose life was cut short. Each recipient exemplifies the qualities that we all admired about Remington and that prompted the creation of this award. We're lucky to have 4 students from Mizzou honored for this year's award. First up, we have Wyatt Carlson. If you want to step forward, Wyatt. Mr. Carlson is passionate about serving others. He's a chapter president of Sigma Phi Epsilon, as well as on the University of Missouri Interfraternity Council. He also serves as a big brother through the organization Big Brothers Big Sisters, and has been a volunteer at Room at the Inn. Along with his excellent academic record, Mr. Carlson has completed a successful internship at Burns and McDonnell, a large step toward his plans after graduation. He will graduate in May 2026 with a degree in electrical engineering and a minor in mathematics. Congratulations, Wyatt. And could I? I've always wanted to do this. I watched the Olympics. Here's the bottom. All right, next is Marin Chamberlain. Ms. Chamberlain encourages and fosters growth among her peers. She is the student director of the Deaton Scholars Program, president of the University's Fighting World Hunger Mizzou chapter, and a residential advisor through Mizzou Housing. Along with these achievements, Ms. Chamberlain created impactful outreach in her internships with Global Ties KC and the Maggie for Mo campaign. She will graduate in May 2026, double majoring in constitutional democracy and philosophy. Congratulations, Marin, and board, start a new tradition. All right, next is Joshua Davidson. Mr. Davidson is committed to developing and leading organizations that give back to other students. He is the director of projects and Engineers Without Borders and is the executive director of the Tiger Pantry, Truman's Closet. In addition to maintaining an impressive GPA and conducting research, Mr. Donaldson launched the Mo Food Pantry Network. He will graduate in May 2026 with a degree in biological engineering and minors in nutritional science and French. as well as with distinction from the Honors College. Congratulations, Joshua. And that's very impressive. Next is Matthew Kimiku. Mr. Kimiku impresses with his academic service, leadership, and encouragement to peers. He serves as the president of the Alumni Association Student Board and has previously served as vice president for Omicron Delta Kappa Secret Society. Mr. Kimiku volunteers with Mizzouathon and conducts research in the Meiji Lab, concentrating on locating health disparities in healthcare. He will graduate in May 2026 with degrees in health science and nutrition and exercise physiology with minors in chemistry and biology. Congratulations. All right. Very impressive. Congratulations to all four of you and to all of our Remington scholars. Next in my report, I'd like to recognize Mizzou's 2024-25 Curators Distinguished Professors. This distinction is for our faculty, is the highest honor the board awards. We recognize these exceptional professors for contributing to the quality of the teaching and research across the UM system. Today, we welcome 10 Mizzou professors into this outstanding group. Please come forward as I call your name. Our first honoree is Dr. Prasad Kaliam from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. Dr. Kaliam is an internationally recognized expert in artificial intelligence and cloud computing techniques. He has supervised over 50 graduate students in the last 10 years, as well as 45 undergraduates and 4 postdoctoral researchers in research projects. Our next honoree is Dr. Bolin Dang from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. His research addresses water quality issues and pollutants in natural systems and human-built infrastructure. Dr. Dang was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Chinese American Professors in Environmental Engineering and Science. Do I? All right. Next is Dr. Roman Ganta from the Department of Veterinary Pathology. Dr. Ganta is an accomplished scholar for his work with pathogens in tick and other vector-borne diseases found in humans and animals. His research gives new insight into how pathogens develop the ability to survive in ticks and animals. With 4 active RO1 or RO1 awards from the NIH, he is in a category of less than 5% of RO1 funded investigators. Congratulations. And Dr. Ganta, I've gotten to know him from afar, and he has one of the most infectious smiles on campus.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I can say. Next is Lucas Grafikos, Mathematics College of Arts and Science. Dr. Grafikos' influence in multilinear harmonic analysis and Fourier analysis research includes one of the most cited papers of his field. I always feel smarter when I read what you all are doing. His interests have led to solving a long-standing mathematics problem, opening the field for many new avenues of research. Congratulations. Next is Mengshi Lin, Food Science, College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources. Dr. Lin is a profound scholar in food safety and nanotechnology. His research has been vital in detecting and classifying foodborne pathogens, ensuring safe consumption for individuals. The outcomes of his recent research activities include a successfully commercialized patent of SIRS substrates. Congratulations. All right, our next honoree was not able to be here in person today. Her name is Shelley Rogers, Strategic Communications School of Journalism. Dr. Rogers is an expert on health and science communication initiatives. She's garnered and overseen nearly $30 million in grant funding, leading interdisciplinary teams of researchers, educators, practitioners, and citizens on health and science communication initiatives. Since 2006, she has consistently been cited as the country's most productive advertising digital researcher, as well as in the top 2% internationally among advertising scholars. Next up, we have Haval Sherwin, Molecular Microbiology and Immunology School of Medicine. His research focuses on immune system modulation that directly impacts immunity, transplantation, and cancer, immunoprevention, and immunotherapy. Dr. Sherwin is a prolific scholar and researcher shown by his 7 pending patents, 11 US issued patents, and 16 foreign issued patents. Congratulations. Next is Bing Yang, Plant Sciences and Technology, College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources. His research explores genome editing technologies and gains molecular understanding of host disease susceptibility in rice and crop plants, working to engineer improved traits. Dr. Yang's research is translational and directly leads to resistant plants that are currently being tested in the field. Next up is Xiaoqin Zhao, Physics and Biochemistry, College of Arts and Science, and College of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources. Dr. Zhao's research developed leading-edge methods in predicting protein structures and understanding underlying protein functions. Her work uses computational modeling of protein interactions with application to drug design. Okay, congratulations to all our 2024 curators, distinguished professors. It is impressive when I read of all of your accomplishments, and it makes me, and I'll speak for the whole board, very proud that you're here at the University of Missouri and that you're conducting the research and doing the things you are. You're the best of us. Congratulations. All right, so for the sake of time, I'm going to just keep my report to these recognitions today. But before I conclude, I want to share a very important update on behalf of the board. We are excited to report that President Choi has accepted a 3-year contract extension to his contract that will now run through 2031. President Choi is a proven leader, and he's led the University of Missouri system and Mizzou to new heights over the last 8 years. His exceptional vision and execution have led to, I'm just going to list some of the things that we have achieved. Achieving the highest retention and graduation rates at all 4 universities, as well as the highest R&D expenditures system-wide. Creating a $6.5 billion in annual impact to the state of Missouri. Achieving high credit ratings with both Moody's Investors Service and S&P Global Ratings. Growing the overall system budget. Securing record capital investments from state and federal governments for all 4 universities, and increasing impactful extension activities to reach more than 2.5 million Missourians. Through these examples and many more, he encompasses the system vision of advancing the opportunities of success and well-being for Missouri and for the nation and the world. We are excited to see the continued upward trajectory the universities are sure to have under his guidance. Congratulations, Moon.
Chair Graves and the board, I want to thank you for your confidence in me, and I will continue to work with outstanding leaders, faculty, staff, and alums to advance the mission of the university. So thank you. So for my remarks, I want to begin with the most exciting part of any academic year, and that is welcoming students to our campuses. Across the 4 universities, almost 16,000 students arrived on our campuses to continue their education. And these are excellent students that will benefit from the teaching, the inspiration from our faculty and staff, and they will be productive citizens in a democratic society. So we're very excited about that. So in terms of enrollment, you can see comparisons over the past 2 years, and the numbers are up. If you compare them to 2 years ago, they're up at every single campus. You saw that last year, we had significant increases from the prior year of 2023, and for the most part, we are doing well. UMSO's flat, S&T is flat, but given the demographics, that is something to be appreciated, because we've seen at other universities in the state of Missouri, many universities have seen significant declines in enrollment. But on top of that, another very important fact that I want to highlight is that our retention rates are increasing, which means that the students that arrive on our campuses are retained for the second year, third year, and eventually they graduate. And that is how we measure student success. We had another record year of state appropriations, and I want to thank Governor Mike Kehoe, who's been such a strong governor for the state of Missouri, and the leaders, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, that see the value of supporting higher education. So 6th straight year, a 1.5% increase in core for all 4 universities. In addition, $10 million into the core to support extension throughout the state. And I want to thank Chad Higgins for his leadership in helping us secure that amount, as well as support for rural medical education. And I want to thank Dr. Rick Barron for his efforts to secure the additional amount. These 2 programs serve the entire state of Missouri. It shares with Missourians the fact that you don't have to come to one of our campuses to get support from the university. We're going to go where Missourians are, and that's a powerful, powerful statement. Plus, with the active participation and support of board members, we were able to get $50 million for Next Gen MER, which is a very important project for the system. And Missouri S&T was able to secure $3 million for modular reactor design and analysis. So another great year of support. On the federal side, these are projects that we are aware of at the moment, but there may be more because we're still learning about project support for the university. But we expect support from MER, as you can see, support for the API initiative at UMSO, and some of our other projects related to animal genetics, as well as the water center and Mesonet weather monitoring system. We also learned very late this week that Senator Eric Schmidt was able to place $5 million into the MER project to support our activities as it relates to nuclear energy related to Department of Defense. So there's broad support for the activities that we lead at the University of Missouri system. Some major grants. Yesterday, we had a groundbreaking of 2 new industry-funded facilities at the current location of MER. But this project, a $40 million project, will be the first building in the location where the Next Gen MER building is planned to be built, and that is called Discovery Ridge. But the U.S. Department of Energy trusts the University of Missouri to own and operate this facility on behalf of the nation. That's the kind of impact that our faculty, staff, and administrators have at MER. Next is another very exciting project, and this is an exciting project for several reasons. One, it is the largest federal agency grant from NSF to any university in the system, so that's important. Dr. Shelley Mantier was hired from University of Utah by Chancellor Degani, and this is one of the first things she did, to develop a science and technology center, which is the signature program at the National Science Foundation. And she'll be studying electrosynthesis. At UMKC, medical school education, this is a theme. UMKC is also very involved in rural medical education, and Dr. Sarah Garner received funding from HRSA to be able to expand the training of medical professionals in rural settings. And Dr. Robert Paul, who is a Curators Distinguished Professor at UMSO and a Professor of Psychology, has developed new partnerships with the company. We're seeking other sources of funding beyond federal government support to support brain health disorders and how that affects people with HIV. Here on this slide, I show you over the past 15 years the growth in total research funding. In 2010, the UM system had $326 million in research funding, and this year we expect $714 million. And the real surprising fact that I want to highlight is that during that period between 2010 and 2025, the total number of tenure track faculty fell at the UM system by 15%. So we have less faculty, but they're twice as more productive. That means that our faculty members are productive. They're doing the important work of the university when it comes to research, and the administrators are supporting that work. That's the only way we could reach heights like these. In terms of philanthropy, as you can see this year, Mizzou had $269 million, which is a record for Mizzou. Of that, $140 million was raised by athletics. That's a record for athletics. And so we're going to continue to build as we launch the campaign, as we're going to announce later today. And the other universities also had very good years. Philanthropy will be a very important part of our activities, from faculty members that need support for their work to students that need scholarships, as well as infrastructure to create the type of environment where we can conduct our research and train and educate our students. At UMSO, they have announced the naming of the College of Business, the first naming of a college, I believe, at UMSO. And this was through a gift of $20 million by an alum, Mr. Ed G. Smith. And they celebrated this about 2 weeks ago. So congratulations to Chancellor Sobolev. I attended the groundbreaking of the UMKC School of Medicine, a 4-year program next to Mosaic Health, along with other curators, to celebrate this important achievement. And the plan that Chancellor Agarwal has is to expand the program even more, but also to add a dental school in the same area. So not only can we provide pharmacy support, medical student education, and dental education, there may be more opportunities for clinical placement of these students throughout the region. And Chancellor Agarwal there is not holding a scissor, he's holding a giant scalpel in that picture. Missouri S&T. Missouri S&T is known as an incredible science and technology university. And 2 years ago, one of their faculty members became president of the American Institute of Chemical Engineering, the largest professional organization for chemical engineers. And this year, Professor Christy Lux was elected president of the American Society of Engineering Education. Another incredible achievement by the faculty at S&T. So congratulations to Professor Lux. We have some new administrators, and I believe they are here. So if I can ask the administrators that are here to stand. All right. And some of the individuals like Stephanie Cordray and Melissa Dowler were staff members, members of the leadership team at the university prior to their appointment in these positions. But we also have some new faces, including John Harris, who was a dean at a Florida university, and he is now the provost. Chris Smith has been at the university for about 6 years, and she has taken on the lead role, and her first big assignment is to raise $2 billion. So help her with that. We're going to work closely. And Steve Robinson was the vice president for enrollment management at University of Utah, a major AAU university. And we have is David Enke here as well? Yes, Dr. Enke is here, and Joe Schenker from School of Medicine. So congratulations, you're joining the University of Missouri system at an exciting time in our history. So congratulations. I want to transition into Mizzou campus highlights, and I want to start with a video that will be featured in many venues, including the SEC network tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, tomorrow, during the game.
Okay, Mizzou, here's my plan. Build friendships that feel like family. Find a place that feels like home.
I dwell in possibility.
Chase my curiosity. Push the limits. Embrace the unexpected. Explore the leader within me. And collect moments I'll never forget. Because when it's time to write my next chapter, I won't just leave with memories. I'll move forward with the heart of a tiger, and the world will hear me roar.
Thank you. I want to begin by celebrating our outstanding students. I'm not sure if the students are here, they may be in class, but these are students that are selected to be Goldwater Scholars, which is a national program. But they have to demonstrate not only strong academic performance, but an aptitude and capacity for research. I imagine that these students will end up going to medical schools or pursue PhDs in their respective fields and become leaders in their fields. And so isn't it wonderful for us to be able to work with outstanding undergraduate students, not only at Mizzou, but at all 4 universities, to train them to become leaders in their fields. And that is a key component of our enrollment strategy. Don't come to our universities just to get a bachelor's degree. Continue your education, get a law degree, medical degree, a master's degree. And so we are infusing our enrollment materials with that type of an approach. Are you here, by the way, the 3 students? Okay, no, they're not here. Next up, faculty. Students come to a university because of the faculty. I know that SEC sports is important and they come for that as well, but they stay to get an outstanding education. And we have these 5 individuals that add to our total of 68 highly prestigious awards that are measured by the AAU. And I believe these faculty members are here. If you're here, may I ask if you can stand? Yes, Professor Deborah Pearsall and Professor Dennis Trout. Professor Dennis Trout is selected to conduct his research on ancient studies in Rome as part of the Rome Prize. So we're very proud of our faculty. We want to continue to not only nominate our faculty members for these important awards, but also recruit faculty members that have these important awards. Some major grants, I'm going to go through these very quickly. As you know, the federal government has really slowed its awarding of new federal grants. And we've seen some declines across all 4 of our universities, but they are beginning to be awarded, and it's accelerated over the past month. This is a project by Professor McClay trying to use advanced medical records and using big data and artificial intelligence to be able to provide better informed, personalized care for patients. So we want to be a leader in this area that helps not only the research that's beneficial for the field, but improve healthcare in our hospitals. Next up, we have Dr. Brett Froliger, who received a major grant from NIH to better understand how to treat those that are affected by addiction, especially nicotine addiction. And he uses advanced MRIs to be able to quantifiably determine brain activities that are related to addictive behavior. Dr. Amy Ramsdell from the School of College of Education and Human Development will develop almost a $3 million project to support educators, especially in helping educators better understand processes and best practices that lead to student success in K through 12 environment. Dr. Derek Anderson, the professor of electrical and computer engineering, who's also part of the Center for Geospatial Intelligence, where we do highly classified work on our campus through support from the Department of Defense and the National Geospatial Agency. And he is working with colleagues like Matt Moshman from mechanical engineering to use artificial intelligence to identify materials based on the specific characteristics of molecules and atoms, to be able to design materials from bottom up as opposed to selecting materials that already exist and trying to shoehorn them in for that purpose. Professor Alejandro Plastina works in Kapner, and this is an important project that gives insights to farmers and policymakers to be able to weather through different trends, agricultural economic trends, as well as environmental and climate changes that may occur in some parts of the country. Last but not least, our Dean of Engineering, who is starting her second year, has developed a project with top universities, including Vanderbilt, to be able to develop new ways of educating students that have different learning abilities. And this will help not only for students that are studying engineering, but for a variety of different fields. So let me ask you if the PIs and co-PIs that were mentioned, highlighted, they can stand and be recognized. Great job. Thank you. Thank you very much. There's another exciting announcement that I would like to make, and that is the launch of a project to seek public-private partnership opportunities in the Columbia region to seek those partners that are interested in taking some of our lands that we own that are no longer essential to our mission, but have the possibility of generating significant revenues. So some of the opportunities that we'll be seeking are hotels on our property with a conference center, an entertainment district that can be used throughout the year that will bring more people to Columbia throughout the year and also provide more amenities for people that live in Columbia, like our students, faculty and staff, and Columbia residents. We'll also seek retail and housing like condos. We've seen examples of how this works and where it works well, like in Tuscaloosa and Knoxville. So we're going to look at the best practices. The approach that we're going to be using is to release an RFI first to get insights of what possibly industry partners may be thinking about the use of our property. And then the later phase will be a full RFQ, RFP process. This process will be led by members of our administration, along with two curators, Curator Todd Graves and Curator Bob Blitz. And I'm looking forward to this very exciting opportunity to transform not only our campus, but the region surrounding our university. So some of the areas that we are considering are shown here, and they're divided up by three zones. Zone 1 is land that is just north of the campus along Elm Street. We own a few properties in that region. Zone 2 is really the heart of the campus, but expands out into where the MKT trail is located. And Zone 3 is a much wider zone that goes from all the way from beyond College Avenue to beyond where we have the Guston Golf Course. Now, one thing that I do want to highlight is that we don't have immediate plans for any of these properties. We're going to be seeking input. It'll go through a very thoughtful process. But these are some of the areas that we are considering at the moment. Anything the curators would like to add? Curator Blitz, Curator Graves?
No.
No, okay. So I want to thank the board again for this opportunity to serve the university until 2031. And I want to take a look back. Exactly 8 years ago, there was a newspaper article in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And as you can see here, and that's a picture of me looking a little calm and collected. And that picture was taken in this room. And that picture was taken when we had the announcement of budget cuts at the university. You may recall that in March and April, we had significant declines in state budget, as well as enrollment numbers that looked like it was going to be pretty bad for the Mizzou campus and the other campuses. And when I look back at that article, they got a lot of things right. But one thing they didn't get right is that I'll be a short-termer. I'm now here in my 9th year, and I'll be here for another 6 years. And it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be here, to work with the board as well as the incredible people at the university. And I want to thank you again for your confidence in me. So I want to take a look back and see where we were and where we are now. And just a quick look at some of the metrics that we can all agree on. If we look at research and financial performance for Mizzou, 1.9 billion compared to 800 million in 2017. Highly prestigious awards for faculty. We more than doubled in that area. And NSF research grants, research expenditures, 83% increase, and an operating budget that increased by $1.6 billion. Imagine that kind of an impact on a town like this for economic development and well-being of the community. And when it comes to research and financial, this is actually should be not research and financial, but student success performances. You can see where we are now compared to where we were. This is the most important thing in my mind for a university. Yes, research is important. We need research to be able to advance knowledge, but at the end of the day, we are creating the next generation of leaders. And this is something that could not have been done. The research and all of this could not have been done without the outstanding faculty and staff that are dedicated to the mission. In terms of student applications, applications are up 64%. Freshmen compared to fall of 2017 is up 46%. And total student FTE, not head count, is up by 9%. And for these reasons, Mizzou is ranked number 4 among all flagships in terms of best value, what we deliver for what we charge. And just as a nod to our opponents tomorrow, KU is ranked number 12. And the new rankings are coming out, and I believe that disparity will grow over time. So it is under these circumstances and the exciting growth at the university that tonight we're going to be announcing the new comprehensive campaign. It's the largest in our history. And those are the pillars. Those pillars are all about student success, research breakthroughs, and engagement with our community, and developing champions on and off the field. And to date, we've raised $760 million as of September 3rd, and we're going to be working very hard. We're going to be working very hard across the board to be able to get major gifts to achieve that $2 billion goal sooner rather than later. So that concludes my remarks. Curator Graves, are there any questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Choi. It was a very good presentation. Now we move on to the consent agenda. Are there any questions or discussions on the consent agenda items? If there are no questions, may I have a motion second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. We now move on to the Finance Committee portion of our agenda. Curator Cruzen, I'll turn it over to you to lead us through the committee's items and recommendations.
Thank you, Chairman Graves. Good morning. The Finance Committee has 1 information item today and 3 action items. The materials for fiscal year 2025 investment performance have been provided to you in your packet. Are there any questions with regard to those materials? If there are no further discussion or no questions with regard to that, we'll move on to the action items. Action item number 1. The first action item is to approve the fiscal year 2026 strategic dividend distribution. Executive Vice President of Finance and Operations, Ryan Rapp, will present the strategic dividend distribution. Ryan.
Thank you, Curator Cruzen. Today, I'll just provide a brief summary of the strategic dividend and the proposed use by each campus. There were detailed materials included in the board packet. Just as some background, the strategic dividend is generated from our general pool, or what you might want to think of as our working capital. And in the investment report that was referenced, it generated a 6.2% return last year. The dividend was really established, I think, in the mid-teens, and it was really driven by the need to think about how do we generate or at least capture central resources for strategic investment at the campus level. So prior to that, we had been investing the general pool appropriately, but those returns were just spread to the kind of eligible account holders or across each of the universities, and we've got thousands of different accounts. And so this was a way that to capture resources centrally, and really the focus was to say, how do we capture that, and allow that to address strategic one-time needs, and also work towards addressing some of the deferred maintenance that we have on all of our campuses. So while these dividend amounts might sound large, keep in mind we've got $2.3 billion in deferred maintenance across our 4 universities. As far as how the dividend is allocated, it's allocated based to each university and MU Healthcare based on their share of our general pool or working capital. And so the other thing we established was that then the board would approve the use of that dividend. So that's what we're here to do today. Here's just a summary as you think about what's included that. Each university, along with MU Healthcare, submitted their plans. For Mizzou, it's very similar to last year to continue to invest in Mizzou Momentum. The amount of the dividend is approximately, I think, around $49 million. But just I referenced those deferred capital needs. Keep in mind, Mizzou has over $1 billion in deferred capital needs. So I'm just trying to put some context. While that's a lot of money, when you put it in the context of the size of these campuses, you've got $1 billion in deferred maintenance needs, and you've got over 17.3 million in square feet across the campus. And I think you'll see that theme, I think, throughout all 4 of these. One of the things that's going to be critical for us going forward as we think about how we remain financially sustainable is really space utilization and space management, and continuing to improve in there. So for S&T, the share of the dividend was a little over $8 million. They'll be using that for the physics building renovation that was on the consent agenda, as well as working on some space consolidation initiatives. UMKC's got just some really basic infrastructure needs for maintenance and repair across their campus with a dividend of $13.1 million. With UMSL, I think we're all very familiar as they continue to consolidate space on the North Campus. The $6.7 million dividend would be invested in that project. And then for the MU Healthcare enterprise, they would use that to help fund the third floor hospital fit out at the Children's Hospital that has already been approved by the board, and the dividend for them was $22.7 million. So that's just a brief summary of what was contained in the materials. I'm happy to answer any questions about the materials or the presentation.
Are there any questions? Okay. If there are no questions and no further discussion, may I have a motion and a second from the committee to approve the fiscal year 2026 strategic dividend distribution?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The committee. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Hearing none. Are there any abstentions? Okay. All were in favor. So the committee chair will refer this matter over to the board chair. Chairman Graves, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to recommend to the full board that the fiscal year 2026 strategic dividend distribution be approved as outlined in the materials.
All right, hearing this recommendation from Curator Cruz, may I have a second from the board?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Chairman Graves. The next item is fiscal year 2026 mid-year modifications to 5-year capital plans for MU Healthcare, Missouri S&T, UMKC, and UMSL. Materials have been available to you to review and consider. Executive Vice President Rapp will present the 5-year capital plan modifications for approval.
Thank you, Curator Cruson. I've just got a few slides we'll go through that talk about the process and then highlight some of the key changes. I will tell you, our capital planning continues to be a work in progress. What we've really tried to do over the last couple of years is integrate our capital plan with our financial plan. So when you see us referencing that it's included in the capital plan, it means that in our long-range financial planning, it's been included. We then have strategic project plan capital projects that each of the universities are looking at. And those are projects that I think the goal is to make sure the board has awareness of those, but that we haven't done the necessary work to say, here's a plan of finance that can support this project. And so it's really something that they're working on developing. And this came about wanting to make sure the board was aware of projects that we'd be talking about. The other thing I'd remind the board of is the size of projects that come before the board. So for any new capital projects over $5 million, it requires board approval. And that's separate from what we're asking today. This is approval of the broad plan. Even with the plan approved, they still have to come back before the board at $5 million for approval. Any project greater than $8 million that relates to renovation or infrastructure, deferred maintenance, has to come before the board. And then if we're utilizing any external debt for a project, that comes before the board for approval. This is just kind of graphically as far as the capital planning process. I want to note, we do this in April, but then we provide the campuses with a chance to update this in September. And I do want to be clear that all the projects that are on the capital plan still require individual approval prior to starting design. And so this isn't project approval. When we seek project approval, it would include a scope, a budget, a funding source, and who the AE firm that we would be looking to hire for the project would be included. So I was just trying to set some framing for what we're seeking approval for, but is there any questions about the capital planning process? Okay, then just go quickly through some of this to highlight some of the changes that were in the materials. The Jesse Hall project in terms of window replacement and some masonry work, we've deferred that into FY27. We were looking to try to accomplish that in FY26. You can see that we've removed a couple of projects. One is that if a project's been approved and gone through the project approval, it comes off the plan. And then as far as the renovations at the track and field and soccer stadium, it falls under the board required approval thresholds. One project that we did move into the capital plan from the strategic project plan was the Greenlee Farm New Learning Center. So it's not a new project. The reason it moved is with one of the new federal spending bills out, we see a significant opportunity to apply for a competitive grant that would fund this project. So that kind of gives you the example of before we were saying, well, we'd like to do this project, but we don't really have a plan to finance it. We now feel like there is a viable path forward to seek funding for that and would anticipate that coming forward in FY27. A couple of projects that we've added to the strategic project plan. I think this highlights some of the things we talked about yesterday as MER continues to look for how do we have space for commercial partnerships and development at the Research Commons facility that we were at yesterday. And so that's still under development, but just thinking about how we can partner with folks like ABK down the road to provide space for them and other commercial partners. The transmission system project, that's really a splitting of what was originally called our electrical intertie connection project. And this is really the part of working with the city and others on how we would tie into the transmission system for that part of the project. So it's more of a modification. And then the last one, we just changed the name to better reflect the project. As far as things that have been removed, we did remove 2 projects. These were going to be funded at the time we thought by NIH funding, and with some substantial changes in the federal funding landscape, we don't believe those will be available. So we've removed them from the plan. So I'll stop there and see if there's any questions on MU's plan.
Are there any questions from any curators?
Yeah, so out on Discovery Ridge, we're designing that area so that we can accept industry partners with factories and high-tech opportunities.
Yeah, so we don't fully have that plan developed, but that's the concept of how are we going to be open to bringing industry partners in. And we may end up saying we don't actually need to build anything. We may just need to provide the land, but we may have an opportunity also to build some facilities or shelf space for them down the road.
I mean, the economic development opportunity of MER2 and all those, it's just, every time I think about it, it's hard to fathom.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? If there's no further discussion.
I was just pausing at MU. I apologize.
That was a pause, okay.
Yeah, I was just seeing it on MU, and then with MU Healthcare, I was going to highlight that, we did have this on the strategic plan. They are now working on a plan to actually underwrite it would be phased over multiple years, about a $24 million investment in rural health expansion. I think as you look at the 2 projects here for MU Healthcare, one is they're really looking to say, how do we get out of some of the lease space that we currently own, look for consolidation opportunities. So when you think about the Keene Street Medical Campus, and this has been discussed with Health Affairs, it's really looking at the Old Women's and Children's Hospital and say, how do we better utilize that versus we looked at the cost to build something new and really saw an opportunity to say, how do we continue to consolidate space and utilize that asset and really, when we did the cost benefit analysis, realized that with a facility we already had, it would be cheaper than building a new standalone facility. And again, the medical campus there, the infrastructure that we have to invest, that would really be done over a 3 to 4 year period. And that's when you see the campus consolidation and inpatient service expansion removed. That's really because we're replacing it with the Keene Street expansion. And really we'll continue to have the 2 campuses. So we'll have our main campus, but then continue to maintain that Keene Street campus and look to consolidate a lot of our outpatient clinical and even some inpatient clinical activities there. Because I think if you've been on the south end of our campus, it's pretty dense right now between healthcare and academics. There's not a lot of room for expansion on the main campus. With that, I'll pause if I'm just going to stop at each one of these and ask if you have any questions. Not with UMKC, The only modification was the Olson Performing Arts Center. We modified that first phase from a $40 million project to a $35 million project that'll be funded exclusively by gifts. I think we've made some changes in terms of timing on the other projects. So it's really no changes, but just noting that these are on the strategic project plan and probably pushing them out a little further. So you got a $16 million project with the dentistry facility in St. Joe, move that to 27. I think we continue to look to see if there's opportunities for an athletic arena, but I want to note this is still in development. And then there's a phase 2 for the Olson Performing Arts Center. The one thing we did remove was the campus-wide classroom improvements. It's not that we're not still interested in doing that, but really need to spend some time doing a comprehensive study and evaluation of what our classroom needs are at UMKC before we move forward. Any questions on UMKC? If not, I'll move to S&T. We moved the physics building renovation, which was really enabled by the strategic dividend from the strategic plan to the finance plan. That was approved on the consent agenda. The one thing we did remove was the critical mineral scaling facility. And again, similar to what you saw with MU, with some of those projects, that was due to shifts in the federal funding landscape. I think, S&T continues to look for opportunities as it relates to critical minerals. The other thing that I'd highlight that we did add to the strategic project plan is we did add a hotel and conference center. And I know in working with Chancellor Degani and his team, there's significant interest in from donors in helping fund this project. Overall, we're estimating it's somewhere between a $45 and $50 million project, and we expect donor capacity around that to be in the $20 to $25 million range. The one thing I would note, it would anticipate about 130 guest room hotel with about 8,500 square feet for conference space. And I think it would fit nicely in with their arrival district. The other thing that's contemplated in there is an integrated living quarters for the chancellor. We continue to have challenges with the current chancellor residence and see this as an opportunity to efficiently address that. I think the chancellor is fully supportive of this concept, but this is a new project, so I did just want to highlight that has been added. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions related to S&T. All right. So then the last is UMSL, and the one update is we've removed the School of Engineering because the project's been approved and is moving forward. The only other thing we changed is, I think for years we've talked about Stadler Hall renovation, and people weren't really clear what that was, so we changed the name to the Science Complex renovation. So no large changes to the UMSL plan. But with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Any further questions? Thank you. If there are no further questions or discussion, may I have a motion and a second from the committee for fiscal year 2026 mid-year modifications to the 5-year capital plan for MU Healthcare, Missouri S&T, UMKC, and UMSL?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor on the committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, we refer this matter over to the board chair. Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to recommend to the board fiscal year 2026 mid-year modifications to 5-year capital plans for MU Healthcare, Missouri S&T, UMKC, and UMSL.
All right, thank you, Curator Cruson. We have a motion. May I have a second? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Back to you.
Thank you. The third item is to approve the annual investment consultant. Executive Vice President for Finance and Operations, Ryan Rapp, will present the investment consultant annual plan.
Thank you. I don't have any presentation, but in your materials, we are recommending to retain Veris as the investment consultant for the general pool, the retirement plan, and the endowment. Additionally, they also, separate from that, for our defined contribution plan, they advise the university's investment oversight committee. So that's part of that as well. In your materials, there was background and an overview of the firm. Jeff McLean, who is the CEO, would continue to be our point of contact as it relates to the agreement. There's also included in this, there is their annual letter on the summary of the performance of the 3 investment plans that they've made a report to the Finance Committee and the Board of Curators. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions with regard to retaining Veris? If there are no questions, may I have a motion and a second from the committee to approve the annual investment consultant plan as outlined in the materials before you?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Chairman Graves, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to recommend to the full board that the annual investment consultant plan as outlined in the materials before you.
All right, hearing this recommendation from Curator Cruzen, may I have a second from the board?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. And abstentions?
Yes, I abstain.
All right, so we have motion carries with 1 abstention. So does that conclude your?
It does. Thank you. That concludes the business of the Finance Committee.
All right, thank you, Curator Cruzen. Curator Fry, please proceed with the Governance, Compensation, and Human Resources Committee.
Thank you. The Governance and Human Resources Committee has 1 action item. Vice President for Human Resources, Dr. Marcia Fisher, will present materials for the approval of the Curator's Outstanding Staff Award.
Thank you, Curator Fry. I'm very excited to have this presentation for you all today, and I'm bringing it on behalf of the Intercampus Staff Advisory Council as well as support from administration. And I'll give you just a little bit of history of how this plan came before you, as well as the details of the proposed award. So the Intercampus Staff Advisory Council, or as we call it, ISAC, is made up of representatives from all 4 campuses, as well as the hospital and the system. They meet periodically. They're often a good source for administration on the voice of staff. They work with us to review policies, give us feedback, things of that nature. Often they meet through Zoom or through other electronic means, but once a year they come together for an annual retreat. And in their annual retreat, there's development opportunities, leadership, they set their priorities. And one of their most valued things that happen at the annual retreat is they're able to meet with board and President Choi. So in, the summer of 24, Curator Fry was at their annual retreat along with then Chair Winokur. And we had a good discussion about recognition of staff. And I believe it was Chair Winokur asked if a curator staff award would be something that ISAC would be interested in. ISAC then took this next year and really spent some time developing a proposal. They wanted to be mindful that there's already staff awards on campus, and they didn't want to take away from those. There's some highly prestigious staff awards at the chancellor level. So at this most recent summer of 25, we had 3 curators that were able to visit with them. Again, Curator Fry, Curator Cruzen, and Curator Rains, and they were able to present their proposal to them. We've also sought input for the Council of Chancellors, who were supportive of this. So without further ado, we are suggesting, recommending that it's a nomination-based award to the board, and it would be based on achieving excellence, customer service, and collaboration. There would be up to 6 awards per year, and you can see the breakdown of per campus, how that would go. And again, being mindful not to take away from the campus awards, the campuses can choose to either nominate their highest award to the board for approval, or they can create their own process in order to make a recommendation to the board. It would come with a $1,000 award as well as a plaque. And the way the awards currently work for staff, it's at the end of the academic year. So because of that, the first time the board would be awarding that would be September of 2026. So it's something I know that ISAC is very excited about, and so I'm pleased to present it to you for your consideration.
Questions for Marcia? If there are no other questions, no further discussion, may I have a motion and a second from the committee to recommend approval of the Curators Outstanding Staff Award as outlined in the materials?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions. Thank you, Marcia, for pulling that across the finish. This is a great thing. I think this is going to be outstanding. So on behalf of the Governance and Human Resources Committee, I move to recommend that the board approve the Curator's Outstanding Staff Award as outlined in the materials.
All right, hearing this recommendation from Curator Fry, may I have a second from the board?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, the motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes the business of the Governance Human Resources Committee.
All right, we're going to, thank you, Curator Fry. We're going to now take a 15-minute break. And so we'll take a 16-minute break, 9:25 is when we need to start again. All right, we're going to call the meeting back to order. Curator Singfield, I turn it over to you for the Academic Student Affairs Research and Economic Development Committee meeting.
Okay, thank you. Today, the committee has one information item on our intercollegiate athletics at Mizzou and an action item from the MU School of Medicine requesting approval to offer a full 4-year medical degree program in Springfield, Missouri. So we will begin with the athletic presentation. Athletic Director Blade Birch, are you there? Okay, is here today to highlight MU's athletic programs and to ask for questions.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. How we doing?
Good.
A little bit of energy and excitement on this campus right now. If you hadn't noticed, a lot of wonderful things happening. A lot of pressure and craziness too. So it's fun. I'm glad that it's finally here. This is one of those weekends that we've been working towards for a long time. I do want to first of all start off by saying thank you. I've, as you all know, been on the job about 1.5 years now. So going into my second competitive cycle, academic cycle here, and we've obviously had some pretty incredible success, but that really comes down to a lot of great people. And as I've said many times, it literally does not happen without alignment and support. So thank you for your leadership, for caring about investing in athletics and seeing the benefits that it can provide to the institution. I would like to also start, before I get into my presentation, a couple of game day updates. So, you know, just like every good coach, we go into a game plan for week 1 and we make some adjustments for week 2. So I am relaying this at every opportunity, media yesterday, media throughout today, that we are making some adjustments for you for game tomorrow. So as you are arriving, please enter the gates on your side of the stadium. As you may have read and heard, we are trying to relay to everyone and ask that we relay in your circles of influence as well that in game 1, we had a pedestrian traffic jam in the South Concourse inside the stadium because we are undergoing a little construction project. As you all know, in the north end, we don't have in-stadium access from east to west on the north end. So because of that, we are requiring folks, we asked nicely, but we're having to require folks going into this game to enter on their side of the stadium. So you literally will not be able to access the stadium unless you do so from the side that your seats are on. That's the only way we can safely get people in and out of the stadium. We're also making some adjustments to our student ticket process. As I've told our folks many times over the last week or two, these are good problems to have, right? It's the price of progress, so to speak. by having construction in the north end, by not having an outlet for additional space for our students in the north end, and having incredible demand, we have run out of tickets, so to speak. And, you know, I know that's a challenge for a lot of our students, understandably so, that we're looking forward to this game, that just we're not able to secure those. We have been doing everything we possibly can to assess our process. We'll continue to adjust our process, and we've actually worked particularly with Marching Mizzou to squeeze them in a little bit and fit some more seats in. So it's going to be packed, and it is going to be a rowdy, loud atmosphere tomorrow. It's also very important. Number one priority is to keep everybody safe. So we're going to do all we can to keep folks from rushing the field. But most importantly, we're going to keep people safe no matter what happens. So with that, I'll go ahead and jump into our presentation for the year. As you know, this is a standard report that we provide each year. Some requirements that I think many of you know, but it is important that we go back and touch on the basics. I want to also begin by thanking Marcy Girton, our Deputy AD, who I know you all have worked with since before my arrival. Marcy was really the one that spearheaded this effort to put this together and leads our department in many areas. I know she's in the crowd, so thank you, Marcy. And as you know well, also, we had a pretty incredible year on several fronts. Announced a record fundraising year this last year, but most importantly, our academic accomplishments, the development of our young people, and our competitive achievements were outstanding, which we will get to here by the end of the show. Sponsored sports, we actually have 20 sponsored sports, 11 on the women's side, 9 on the men's side. So if you're doing the math real quick, that's because track and field actually counts as 2. So indoor and outdoor on both those lists, but a strong array of sports. And over this last year, we had over 600 young men and women competing in our programs, as you can see distributed here. Important note, because of the House settlement and the change in roster limits for sports at Mizzou and across the country that are participating in that settlement, we now have roster limits. So our number of student athletes will reduce. It'll be closer to 450 than 500 this year. So obviously a significant reduction from 610 this last year. Within that, I would also remind you that we did increase the number of scholarships significantly. So while there's less total participating, there are significant more that are actually receiving scholarship support. On the academic side, I would just point out a few of the highlights listed here. 98.4% graduation rate for student athletes who've exhausted eligibility, pretty remarkable stat. 17 consecutive semesters with a 3.0 or higher GPA. And we actually had 2 Scholar Athlete of the Year, both one on the men and one on the women's side, in Brady Cook and Grace Slaughter this last year. All pretty remarkable accomplishments. Really proud of our academic support system program here. It is top notch and obviously getting incredible results. Along with that, our academic progress rates by sport are all above, certainly above the minimums. And we have had women's sports all above 992, which is pretty remarkable. As an editorial note, I do think the APR rates and how this is looked at across the country are likely going to need to adjust in the future, considering the new world of transfers that we are in and the impacts of some of that. But regardless, we continue to be well above minimums, and in almost every case, we're above averages across the country. And our federal graduation rate is 90% for our 4-year average GSR. You can see the percentages as they list out here across the board. Continue to increase year to year, which is impressive in this environment. Graduation success rate by sport is listed here. I would just point out that we had 5 women's sports that had a perfect GSR this last year. And again, it continued to track well across our sports despite transfers, etc. Student athlete development is something that we take a great deal of pride on. I don't think this gets enough public recognition and understanding of what all goes on in the background to really support and develop our young people. Important pride stat for us. We're #1 in the conference in community service. So there's data tracking and reporting of that across the conference. And we showed #1 in terms of overall hours and time put in by our student athletes in our community. Top majors are listed there, which may be of interest for our student athletes, are business, health sciences, and sports management. And our average starting salary for student athletes out of the gate is $60,000. In this day and age, that could be actually a reduction for some compared to what they're making in NIL and revenue share support. But it is obviously a great place to get started. And from a student athlete development standpoint, we have several really good programs that are aligned across our university that also are not highlighted or understood, that we have really partnered with, particularly in the day and age of name, image, and likeness. We had over 100 student athletes involved in our NIL branding program, which is a partnership with the School of Journalism. We have tax labs that are provided for all of our student athletes, financial literacy sessions that are offered each semester, and the School of Law in entrepreneurship and legal clinic services are free legal services that we provide to student athletes regarding LLCs, small business plans, etc. All positioned to manage this new era of name, image, and likeness. On the competitive side, I think you all are likely tracking and aware of these well, but some pretty incredible highlights. Second consecutive year for our football program to reach the 10-win plateau. Gymnastics finished the 3rd in the country, our highest ever finish for a women's program. Men's basketball returned to the NCAA tournament. Volleyball reached the Sweet 16 for the first time in a handful of years. And wrestling, again, finished with 14th at the NCAA championships. An incredible program that Coach Brian Smith continues to run on the wrestling side. And for the first time ever, we had 3 individual national champions in track and field and gymnastics, along with 25 student athletes who earned All-American honors. All pretty incredible performances. And finally, I think it's a great way to wrap up the presentation by touching base about a couple of our outstanding coaches, because as I've said many times, coaches drive success in our world. They impact our student athletes directly more than anybody else, not only in their overall experience, but obviously their competitive performance. 2 of those that I want to point out, I know you know these well also, but really proud of Shannon Welker, what he has done with this program over the years and getting it to this point. He rightly earned SEC and National Coach of the Year honors. And as you all know, we were able to hire a pretty incredible women's basketball coach. Very excited about Kelly Harper and what she's bringing to our program already. And as a reminder, she's just the 2nd women's basketball coach in history to guide 4 different programs to NCAA tournament. So with that, I will wrap it up and open it up for questions.
Okay, thank you for support, especially how successful the kids are getting an education here. That is wonderful. Are there any questions from the committee or any member of the board? No, guess not. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you.
M-I-Z.
Z-O-U.
Well done, Larry.
Win tomorrow.
Just win, baby.
Done.
Next, we will review and consider for approval a proposal for the MU School of Medicine to offer a full 4-year medical degree program in Springfield, Missouri. Dr. Rick Barron, Executive Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs and Dean of School of Medicine, and his colleagues will present the proposal and answer questions.
Good morning, Chair Sinkfield and members of the board. So today I will be presenting our proposal for expansion of the new School of Medicine in Springfield. And I'm going to walk through the strategic rationale, timeline, and investment details. And I'm joined by Dr. Kevin Kane, our Senior Associate Dean for Medical Education, who oversees the overall medical school education program, and then Associate Dean David Haustein, who is our Dean for the Springfield campus. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. So since 2016, Mizzou operated a 2-year clinical campus in Springfield, and up to 28 medical students per year complete their first 2 years on the Columbia campus, and then they transition to the Springfield campus for their 3rd year and their 4th year, where they get their clinical training. And we do this in Springfield with our partners at Cox Health and Mercy Springfield. At both those hospitals, over 400 physician volunteers are engaged in teaching our medical students. So we are now proposing that we expand this program into a full 4-year program with 32 students per class. So why? Why is this necessary? Well, first, we face a critical physician workforce shortage in the United States and in Missouri, and the greatest need is in rural Missouri. Additionally, this expansion strengthens our ties with the Springfield healthcare community, and it creates a direct pipeline for our local undergraduates in Springfield that will boost the regional, and this will also boost the regional economy. It also positions Mizzou as a leader in physician training across Mid and Southwest Missouri, and it will help us compete with growing programs from osteopathic medical schools. When we establish the 4-year program in Springfield, this will also, we believe, inhibit others from standing up new programs in the future. So currently, our entering class is 136 for the entire MU School of Medicine. And so that totals about 530 students across all 4 years. So with the Springfield expansion, this class size will grow to 168 students per class. And so by 2031, there'll be a total of 672 total medical students on both campuses. So this is a significant increase, and it reflects our commitment to meeting the healthcare needs of Missouri. This is a table that illustrates how the Springfield class sizes would evolve if this plan is approved. So this year, FY26, we are securing a permanent building, and we will begin renovations on that building. We currently lease space in Springfield. Next year, we will continue the renovations, and we will begin hiring and training faculty and staff. And then in July of 2027, which is FY28, we would welcome the first incoming class of first-year medical students, 32 students. By FY31, we would then have 128 students at the Springfield campus, 32 students per year. Some caveats. The curriculum has to be comparable at both the Columbia and the Springfield campuses. This is very important, and it's required by our accrediting LCME organizations that requires any satellite campuses to have the same curriculum as the parent campus. So our first and second year medical students will learn in small groups like they do on the Columbia campus, and using the patient-based learning process that we developed here in the 1990s. The Springfield-based physicians, the MDs at Cox and at Mercy, and the PhDs at the local universities will lead these sessions. Anatomy will be taught in partnership with the local universities, and we will also be hiring additional faculty. In addition, some of the lectures will be live streamed for both campuses. The simulation lab in Springfield, which is currently in the lease space, will be relocated and expanded to the new building to accommodate increased numbers of students. And we'll also be hiring assistant deans for student affairs and for curriculum to ensure a consistent experience for the students in Springfield comparable to the Columbia campus. So oversight of the curriculum, the student affairs, and admissions will remain centralized, with Associate Dean Housting reporting to Senior Associate Dean Kane, and both of them, Dr. Kane reports up to me. So what kind of investment will this require? So as I mentioned earlier, we are in the process of purchasing a building. It will need some renovation, and we believe the building that we're looking at now will best suit our needs. Revenue for this new program will come from state appropriations, from tuition, and from philanthropy. So we can achieve this plan with our current levels of state appropriation and tuition. The two challenges of most interest to our accreditors will be ensuring that we have enough preceptors at the Cox and Mercy healthcare systems and who are our current partners, and we will strengthen those ties. Representatives from Cox and Mercy have been part of our task force, which has been going on for the last year, building up to this announcement and proposal. And they've been very supportive of the idea. Dean Houston has been in contact with them yesterday to remind them I'm giving this proposal today to the Board of Curators, and they're very supportive. So we believe that they will remain strong partners in educating our future doctors. So this is our proposed timeline for the expansion. Again, we'll purchase a building this fall. We'll begin renovations. And then in December is when we will submit our official proposal to our accrediting body, the LCME. We will receive final feedback from them in February of 2026. And once that is in place, then we will begin hiring the necessary faculty and staff. And we, again, plan to welcome our first-year medical student class in Springfield in 2027. So that concludes my report, and myself, Dr. King, Dr. Houston are open to any questions the board may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Looks like we're doing a lot of medical across the things.
A lot of medical.
A little competition between UMKC and you guys?
Oh, no competition. That's my alma mater. It's all, we're following UMKC's lead. They've already got a 4-year campus in St. Joseph, so.
There you go. Well, thank you for that report. Are there any questions from the committee or any member of the board?
I have a question, Dr. Barron.
Yes, great.
Going back to the slide on the source of funds that you're going to, one of them, the tuition and fees, is that just tuition and fees from the medical
Yes.
people? And the other thing on philanthropy, I think Moon showed a slide earlier about how much philanthropy was raised, and it looked like more than half of it was a couple $100,000, but more than half of it came from athletics. How much philanthropy is raised directly from the medical center?
Philanthropy last year from the medical center was a bit over 20 million. We know we can do a lot better than that. And actually, this is going to give us an opportunity, we believe, to get Springfield behind this, and we will be exploring more philanthropic opportunities in the Springfield area.
I mean, if you don't, then you need an awful lot of institutional support.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mine's just a comment of congratulations. I just think this is a really good step and a really important part of the state of Missouri, and it's a way for us to access and provide access to really talented young people. And so just my congrats for the work.
Thank you very much, Curator. We're really excited about it. Gentlemen, do you have any? Good?
If there is no further discussion, may I have a motion and second from the committee to recommend approval of the proposal for the MU School of Medicine to offer a full 4-year medical degree program in Springfield, Missouri, as presented in the materials?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All those opposed? Okay. So the motion carries. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the committee, I move to recommend to the full board that the proposal for the MU School of Medicine to offer a 4-year medical degree program in Springfield be approved.
All right, hearing this recommendation from Curator Singfield, may I have a second from the board?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion's unanimous.
Okay, well, this concludes the business of Academic Affairs, Research and Economic Development Committee. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Curator Singfield. I now invite Curator Michael Williams to lead the Health Affairs Committee portion of the agenda.
Thank you, Chair Graves. And we have a frequent flyer coming back. The Health Affairs Committee met on Thursday, August 28th. At the meeting, the committee members heard about recent activities at the medical school, Next Gen Precision Health, and MU Healthcare, as well as a financial report from the Chief Financial Officer of MU Healthcare and a summary of the past fiscal year's compliance activities from Chief Compliance Officer for MU Health. I would like to invite someone that we all know and love, Dr. Barron, to come back up and share with us details of the information presented at last week's meeting. Dr. Barron.
Thank you very much, Curator Williams, Chair Graves, and to members of the board. So here's my agenda for today. I'll provide some updates for the School of Medicine, MU Healthcare, and finally I'll give an update on MU Healthcare finances. The Health Affairs Committee heard some of this last week because it's game day. I've cut it down quite a bit. So here's some of this again. So first, updates from the School of Medicine. So we are very excited to welcome the new incoming class to the School of Medicine, the class of 2029. So from a total applicants of nearly 3,700 applicants to our medical school, we interviewed 423 and we matriculated 136. So 136 is the largest entering class of medical students in the history of the School of Medicine. This is an extremely accomplished cohort. These are students with very strong grades and MCAT scores. 85% are coming from right here in Missouri, including 11% from rural Missouri. The small number of out-of-state applicants all had to have very strong Missouri ties to be competitive. We're looking forward to what these students will do over the next 4 years, and even more looking forward to their graduation day in May 2029 when they become physicians. So at the medical school, we have been focused on increasing physicians in rural Missouri for a long time. In order to accomplish this, we've developed several programs that have been expanded in recent years with federal funding. So we recently received notice of a $4 million grant from Health Resources and Services Administration, which renewed, it was a renewal and ensures our ability to have rural medical education programs into the future. So one of the programs that this grant funds is our Bryant Scholars Program. This is an amazing program that allows undergraduates from rural Missouri to gain early admission to our medical school. They apply when they're sophomores, and then once they hit their MCAT, the required MCAT and the required GPA, which they need to hit in order to then matriculate in the medical school, once they're in medical school, then they are placed in rural settings to do their clinical training, and that program is called the Rural Scholars Program. So some of the rural scholars participate in what we call the Longitudinal Integrated Clerkship, which is an immersive program where the medical students work in rural healthcare with their primary care doctors, and then they work across multiple settings throughout different disciplines through the year. So they go with their patients to their GYN appointments or their surgery appointments or their endocrinology appointments. It's really innovative. I don't know any other program in the country that does it quite like that. And so we're very proud of these programs, which have been in place for quite a while, 30 years. And our Rural Scholars Program is led by Dr. Whitney Lefevre. All of this is really designed to expose our medical students to unique challenges of working in a rural setting, the practice of medicine. And our data show that these programs are successful in getting physicians interested in and then ultimately practicing in rural Missouri. And the University of Missouri School of Medicine is really a national leader in building these programs and have been for decades. I also want to point out that the state of Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services offers a Missouri Student Loan Program. It's a repayment program to doctors who are Missouri residents and they're U.S. citizens and they're willing to serve in a health profession shortage area, which is nearly always in rural Missouri. These are areas where there's a shortage of doctors, and this program provides key incentives to increase interest in practice in these areas. I know that some of the curators, particularly Curator Fries, have been very interested in this program, and so we're delighted that the state of Missouri has this opportunity for our doctors that want to practice in rural areas. So now I would like to turn to a couple updates from MU Healthcare. The first is about our new ambulatory infusion unit on the Keene Street Medical Center campus. So this unit was developed to support our patients and improve access to receive ambulatory infusions. This opened on June 24th of this year, and it is very convenient for our patients to get their infusions there. And the patients that this serves are non-cancer patients who need to get ambulatory infusions of one type or another. Many are these new cutting-edge biologics that are available for rheumatology patients, GI patients, neurology patients, but they don't have cancer. So the cancer patients will continue to get their infusions on the main campus in Ellis Rochelle, but these other patients now are getting their infusions on Keene Street. And this is a great development and a great use of the Keene Street facility. Children's Hospital celebrated its birthday, its first birthday on July 9th. And we had a party to celebrate the 1-year anniversary for Children's Hospital. It was exciting. There was, for the kids, there was Kona Ice and a birthday cake and games. And then we had Marvel superheroes rappelled on the side of the building. As you can see in this picture, they were our Columbia Fire Department firemen. So thank you to the Columbia Fire Department for helping celebrate. Since opening the Children's Hospital, we've treated more than 4,000 pediatric patients. We've cared for over 500 infants in the neonatal intensive care unit, and we've welcomed 2,000 new baby Missourians in our labor center. During the birthday celebration, Carrie Simon in the hospital also shared plans on how we're going to reinvest and keep care close to home by building out the 3rd floor of Children's Hospital, which Mr. Rapp talked about earlier. When we rebuild out the 3rd floor of the hospital, we're going to be adding 7 new operating rooms, and 2 are going to include state-of-the-art intraoperative MRI capabilities. And we'll also have space for a perioperative recovery and more recovery rooms. So it's a very exciting expansion into the shelled out space in the Children's Hospital, and that expansion will be complete by late 2027. And then finally, I want to provide an update on MU Healthcare finances. So this is a busy slide. I'll walk through a couple of the highlights. Our consolidated operating income was $45 million compared to a budget of $42.2 million. So that happened despite being out of network with our largest payer for the last 3 months of the year. And MU Healthcare was able to just exceed its operating margin, and we came in at 2.4%, and we had a budget of 2.3%. And just to remind you, last year our operating margin was just 0.9%. So additionally, MU Healthcare exceeded its goals for days cash on hand. We increased it to 136 days, and we had budgeted financial news. A critical factor in our success this year, this is at the top of the chart, was our net revenue growth. We had a net revenue growth of 7.8%, and it really reflects a number of things. It reflects our better managing our capacity and key programs that we built in both Columbia and Jeff City, and that includes big advances in cardiology and oncology and in GI services. So looking ahead for this year, we're going to get our volumes back on track now that MU Healthcare is back in network with our largest commercial payer. And additionally, we're sorting through some of the billing implications of backdating the agreement with the commercial payer back to April 1st, and we expect to begin getting our accounts collected over the next several months. So that concludes my report, and I'm open to any questions. Thank you again, Curator, to Chairman Graves and all the curators.
Yeah, I have a question. Would you be willing to comment on this, the solution to Anthem?
The solution that I'm glad to. Uh, it was a process that had to be done. The offer that they presented to us a year ago was just not acceptable. And we are very proud that we negotiated extremely strong with Anthem. And at the end of the day, we got a deal that was significantly better than was offered a year ago. It was absolutely necessary to have this battle. I really believe it was a David and Goliath battle. Although if you believed what our opponents were putting on the TV and in the newspapers, you'd think it was the reverse. But that actually wasn't the case. But I think it was necessary, and it will put us also in better shape for this year, for years to come. And it'll also, we had a lot of lessons that I think we can learn for future negotiations with insurance payers when they come up down the road.
Okay.
I just comment on that. I think you guys did a great job on that. You're in a tough situation, got thrown at you at the last minute, and you strung it out and brought all the forces to bear that should have been brought to bear, and really did a good job. And I do believe that what you learned will be very valuable for the next time this contract comes up. And we're really, taking that as a good lesson. But he did a great job under the circumstances.
Thank you, Curator Blitz. And I want to thank all the curators, especially the curators that serve on the Health Affairs Committee and the other members on the Health Affairs Committee. They were with us. We were all in step, and they supported us completely. So we appreciate that.
Curator Williams, may I add? And so I agree with all of the comments made by the curators, and MU Healthcare team did an outstanding job. I also want to recognize the role that the Governor Kehoe, and Senator Cindy O'Loughlin played. They were critical to us reaching an agreement with Anthem.
Well, and I think one of the key takeaways is that I learned is we're a nonprofit, and we serve Missourians. But if we don't continue to grow and reinvest, which means we have to have financial resources, then eventually we will fall behind and not be able to provide that service. So thank you for ensuring that.
Thank you, Chair Graves. And we are critical to the healthcare for Missourians in a large area of this state. And we know that. That's our mission, and we're going to keep doing it.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Dr. Barron. That concludes the report of the Healthcare Committee.
All right, thank you, Curator Williams. Curator Rains, please proceed with convening the Audit, Compliance, and Ethics Committee.
Thank you, Chair Graves. Good morning, everyone. Today, the Audit, Compliance, and Ethics Committee has one information item and two action items. The first information item, Chief Audit and Compliance Officer Jim Grimes will present the quarterly audit, compliance, and ethics. Jim will review the activity for the past quarter. Over to you, Jim.
Thank you very much. First off, I want to thank the 4 campuses for their great support for helping internal audit and compliance groups, as well as MU Healthcare, and their great support in helping us do our part to help the mission of the university system. So appreciate that. We couldn't do this without the great work of my team. My team does an amazing job of working with everybody across the campuses, so I appreciate everyone supporting my team as well. So I have a brief update at this meeting, really to show the update from since the June meeting. But we've completed since June two audits since then. We've got 8 in process. We've got a lot. There you go. Thank you. We've got 8 in process right now, and actually we're really working hard to increase the productivity of the internal audit team and the compliance team to really make an impact across the operation. So a lot of investigations as well, 6 completed so far since June, and I'm going to report on the follow-up as well as in this meeting. I have 1 audit to report. It relates to the leave program that's done for the employees of the system. A very important program relied upon for a lot of employees when the need rises. The audit was satisfactory results. It got a medium risk rating primarily because of the importance of the program and the impact it really has for the employees. Some opportunities were identified, and I do want to call out Marcia Fisher, and her team was very supportive of this audit and getting it done, and making sure we're tracking things properly and making sure we got the right controls in place. There were no errors identified in the review that we performed. The biggest thing really is adding efficiencies, improving the SOPs that relate to the processes involved with the execution of LEAD programs. And really, one thing that the internal audit group does as well, not only from an internal control weakness perspective, but look for efficiencies and processes as well. So there is some opportunity for efficiencies to improve those processes. So that was one of the key findings as well in this audit project. The last item I have today, back one. Oh, right, there you go. One more. There you go. Thank you. One thing we are going to do, and Curator Rains and I have worked together with Ryan Rapp as well. One of the things I want to make sure is communicating clearly when we do an audit report is how they do. How was the audit? And I wanted to be very transparent to when an executive or somebody in the system reads it, they can tell from the front page whether it's good, bad, or you shouldn't have to read 3 or 4 pages in to find out if it's a good or bad. So we're revising our audit reporting rating really to get more transparency to see how was the audit. Was it good, being the best, or inadequate, which would be the lowest score. I predict kind of will be in the good, adequate with exceptions categories, and with occasionally maybe having some needs improvement. And inadequate, I would say, would be very infrequent. So I think that'll improve the visibility for the actual reports. Additionally, we're also going to rate the individual issues to give some priority to the process owners on how quickly they need to rectify any opportunities that are identified in the audit. So if it's low risk, there's really no management action required, all the way up to significant risk that we really need them to address quickly and minimize the risk of anything impacting the operations of the system. So I think that'll be very helpful for our audit reports going forward. Last item I have is the management action follow-up. And this is for the reports from February 28th through June 30th. 38 action items were due. A lot of interim progress updates were due. Action items completed, 32. Action items extended is 3. Action items will not be implemented because they were low risk. They were determined that we had agreed that these did not need to be implemented, and we closed 4 audits. So there's more detail of all this information in the written materials as well. So that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Jim. Is there any questions for Jim? I think the improvements that you made on clarity on ratings will be very, very helpful. So thank you for that, Jim. If no other questions, then we'll move forward with action items. The first action item is to approve the engagement of an independent auditors for our system. Executive Vice President Ryan Rapp will present the report on engagement of independent auditors. And I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Curator Rains. I don't have a presentation, but in your materials, there was some information. Just as a reminder, every 5 years, we go out to bid for our external audit firm. And then I do want to be clear, even if the board were to approve this today, annually, the board still improves the engagement of the independent auditors. We started this, I guess, late winter, early spring. We did have 4 firms respond. Forvis Mazars is our current auditor, Clifton Larson Allen, KPMG, and PwC. All 4 submitted responses. We invited 3 of those firms. We did not invite KPMG for in-person presentations. And I also kept Curator Rains informed as we move through this process. We are recommending that we retain Forvis Mazars for another 5 years. It's primarily, as we looked at it, One is, yes, their fees reasonable. I want to be clear though, we're not looking for the lowest cost provider when we go through this process. I think, one of the things we learned as we went through that process, and I think it applies to things we're doing at the university, but just through those proposals, it was really interesting to see how technology and AI is impacting the work they're doing. And just indulge me for a moment. I think what was eye-opening to me as having been an external auditor, and you think about sample sizes and testing, and you had PwC and Forvis Mazars, I'm sure the others do it, but really talking about, when they go to do testing now, they're not really doing a sample size, they're testing the entire population. So you continue to see that industry change. My thinking is that may continue to put pressure on fees in a downward trajectory, but it was we went through an extensive process. We involved Jim and his team. We involved our controller and CFO at the health system as well, and then our controller's team for the system as we went through this process. But we are recommending to retain Forvis Mazars. I think going out, even if we intend to retain the incumbent, is always important. I mean, we did get a 7% reduction in price, and then they would propose increasing that over having the fees limited to CPI over the 5 years. But happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ryan? Okay. Seeing none, if there are no further questions, may I have a motion and a second from the committee to approve the engagement of the independent auditor Forvis as outlined in the materials that Ryan just gave us?
Second.
So moved. Second.
Perfect. Sounds like we have a motion and a second. All those in favor from the committee? Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. Very good.
Wake up.
Got to keep them going here. Very good. The second action item is for the Audit Compliance and Ethics Committee to move into executive session. May I have a motion and a second from the committee from our audit committee for the approval of that?
Second.
Second.
So moved and second.
Thank you. Okay. So with that, we have a motion and we have a second. Valerie, please call the roll of the committee.
Curator Cruzen,
Aye.
Curator Luetmeyer,
Aye.
Curator Rains,
Aye.
Curator Sinkfield.
Aye.
Very good. Chairman Graves, other than having to wake up a few folks, so please.
Yeah,
Yes.
do you want to move to recommend to the full board the hiring of the auditor?
I'd like to recommend to the full board the hiring of the auditor.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for that. That's the reason you're our chair today. And Chairman Graves, with that, that concludes the business of the committee.
Okay, we're going to move on to the good and welfare of the board section of our agenda. And just sitting here, I was thinking I see our three chancellors for UMKC, UMSL, and S&T sitting in the audience, and just want to acknowledge them. And they don't have a big role at the board meetings, but I can tell you in the management of the university, they have a very critical, very big role, and we appreciate all you do. And for all your advocacy for your programs and your development, and we appreciate that. Just want to say that. Okay, we're going to move to, let me move to the lectern. All right, and just a teaser so you guys can wait for it. I'm going to read a poem. So before this is over with, I know you're excited about that. I now have the honor of recognizing two former members of the board, Robin Wenneker and Keith Holloway. Robin, would you please join me at the podium? Are you here, Robin? Yeah, there she is. Excuse me. Please join me at the podium. Robin served on the Board of Curators from February 12, 2020 through March 27, 2025, and we would like to recognize you today for your service. I would like to read a few excerpts from the resolution for everyone. During her tenure, Curator Winokur served on every standing committee of the board and chaired the Executive, Finance, Academic Student Affairs, Research and Economic Development, and the Health Affairs Committees, demonstrating broad and dedicated leadership across the university's core missions. She served as Vice Chair of the Board in 2023 and Chair in 2024, providing steady leadership during a period of key strategic process. She championed healthcare initiatives across the UM system, supported the construction of the new Children's Hospital, and integrated Capital Region Medical Center into the system. She co-created the Remington R. Williams Student Leader of the Year Award and was a visible supporter and student of student life, athletics, and statewide outreach. Congratulations.
Stand.
Yes, you want to do another one?
Yes, I just got my
Okay,
glasses
okay.
on. I saw you move yours.
Take the sticky note off.
Thank you.
All right, you want to say a few words?
That would have been a good idea too, Gene.
I've got the poem though, so don't do that.
Don't say the poem. Well, you didn't share it with me, so I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. So, okay. Thank you for this generous resolution and for the invitation to be here today. Last November, as I was nearing the conclusion of my term, I shared more formal reflections. Today offers a different kind of moment, one simply to say thank you, and to recognize the long-standing tradition of governance that sustains this university system. This board represents not only policy and oversight, it reflects the trust of our fellow citizens and the stewardship and responsibility of a system that serves all Missourians. I was grateful to have served with board colleagues who work together with leadership to make strategic investments and decisions that has positioned the university system for long-term success. While my term has concluded, I'm honored to carry the designation of Curator Emeritus. Thank you for that recognition. I'm proud to have invested in this university system, its people, its programs, and its public mission. And because of that, I'll always be a Tiger, a Triton, a Miner, and a Roo. I believe in the reach and impact of this system, not only through our 4 universities, but through MU Healthcare and Extension, which serve people and communities across Missouri, the region, and beyond. That work depends on the dedication of the president, chancellors, system leadership, and staff, whose efforts sustain and strengthen the mission every day. I began serving in 1989 as a student volunteer in university-wide organizations, and for nearly 40 years, I've continued that involvement through roles at the campus and system level, from academics to student life, to athletics and alumni engagement, and especially through connections in agriculture, journalism, business, and fraternity and sorority life. Those opportunities have shown me a university system that serves with breadth and excellence. As a curator, I've had the rare honor of seeing this university from many perspectives and participating in work that showcase the commitment of our people across all 4 universities and throughout the system. Those experiences deepen my respect for the faculty, staff, and students who bring this university's mission to life every day, a powerful reminder of why this work matters and the reach of public higher education. That sense of purpose is also personal. My connection to Mizzou is rooted in nearly 4 decades of involvement and in the scholarship-supported paths of my maternal grandfather and father, whose degrees from Mizzou created opportunities that shaped my family. I've had the distinct honor of serving alongside fellow curators, individuals whose thoughtfulness, leadership, and spirit of dedication helped shape my time on the board. The relationships built and the work we shared will always be with me. To the many alumni, donors, volunteers, students, faculty, staff, and friends I've had the privilege of working alongside through the years, thank you for embodying the spirit of service that makes this university strong. I've been fortunate to have friends and family, some here today, whose support encouraged and inspired my own service. I've been grateful for the opportunity to represent our state, and I'm certainly proud of what we accomplished together. The most important legacy of service is knowing that the work will continue, guided by shared commitment, strengthened through strategic investment, and carried forward by a vital university system that will serve Missourians for generations. Thank you again for the recognition.
All right, Keith, would you please join me at the podium? Keith served on the Board of Curators from June 3rd, 2021 through April 10th, 2025. We would like to recognize you today for your service. I would also like to read a few excerpts from the regular resolution for everyone. During his tenure, Curator Holloway served on numerous standing committees, chaired the Audit, Compliance, and Ethics Committee, and the Governance, Compensation, and Human Resources Committee, and provided strategic oversight and accountability. He was appointed to the Medical Alliance in 2022, ensuring the success of Healthcare and affiliated partners in delivering exceptional clinical care, advancing education, and supporting research. He championed the Missouri University Research Reactor and the Roy Blunt Next Gen Precision Health Initiative, and was a steadfast supporter of Mizzou athletics. He served as liaison to both the Staff Advisory Council and the Faculty Council, and engaged with stakeholders across all 4 universities, and consistently championed transparency, accountability, and the mission of the university. Present you with this. Congratulations. A few words?
I would love to.
All right.
Now, Valerie said I could say a few words, and I served on this board 4 years, okay? So I figured 10 minutes a year, that would hold me down to about 40 minutes, if you guys are ready. Actually, I'm just here to thank people to allow me to serve. The first person is a former governor, Mike Parson, and I'm pleased that he had the faith in me to serve. I had some advocates down there in Jeff City, and it was a great honor to serve on this board. It's a lot of responsibility, and as you know, it's a lot of work. And all the past board members I served with and this present board, even the 2 new members that I've just come to know, it's a great group of people. Various industries you represent, various experiences and dedication that you've had. And I wish you all luck, dig in. And talking to Blaine a while ago, it's a lot more work than what you think that you're going to get when you get in on this deal. I thought it was going to be about this big, and it became about that big. So that was great. Now I do want to, it's hard to name anyone and thank them for their service also. But I just want to mention a few, and I won't quite go the full 40 minutes. But I want to start with the Secretary's Office of the Curatorship. Valerie has done an outstanding job. And she's been here the full term that I've been, but now she's the head lady there and doing a wonderful job. She reorganized some things and freshened things up, and I think it's good. Right next to her office in the building over there is Mark Mangini in the Office of General Counsel. And I can say that when we hired him, we brought in 3 candidates in Kansas City, the final, and he was head and shoulders above the rest. And that's not saying they weren't accomplished people. He was prepared for the job, and he's been prepared, and he's been on the job ever since, doing a good job. You did a deep dive into how we use outside counsel and the amount of money we spent on outside counsel. And it took a while just to get the numbers together, because sometimes when things happen, you know, it's just not accounted for, and it's just not easy to get the numbers together. But he's changed that. He knows what we spent, how it was done. He's made some significant changes in the way we hire this outside counsel to save us money. Also freed up some money for our own attorneys that answer to him. And so I think that we're doing much better shape. But the second call I got when I got nominated for this position by the governor was from the former general counsel. He said, "Hello, Keith, congratulations." I said, "Thank you." He introduced himself, Steve Owens, general counsel at the University of Missouri. He said, "I'm your attorney now." Well, I asked him if I really needed one. But he seemed to think that I did. But anyway, thank you for your work, Mark. Then of course, the 4 chancellors we have at these universities. You know, we've got 2 metro area universities, St. Louis, University of Missouri, St. Louis, University of Missouri, Kansas City. And they're both metro universities and campuses, but they're so much different. It's kind of amazing to me what they do and how they do it. But the 2 chancellors there, Chancellor Agrawal and Chancellor Sobolik, you all do a fine job, and it's been a pleasure to work with you. You know, what you're doing on your campuses, a lot of changes. You embrace the change. You got vision, and the way you're just changing your campuses and making it real, the new buildings and the ideas, the vision that you have is great. And then our most rural campus, and by the way, Blaine, John, we need advocates for rural Missouri and the students that come out of rural Missouri. I've tried to be an advocate on the board for that group of people, and it's refreshing and satisfying to me that the medical school has made the commitment they've had for rural doctors, because we need them in our state. And please think about that and consider taking care of our rural students, the high school students that come out of there, as I know that you did, and I did out of Poplar Bluff, Missouri. I came to Mizzou, and it was life-changing for me. And so then there's Mo Dengani, our chancellor down at Missouri S&T, and I spent more time with him probably than any other chancellor. He was in my congressional district, but also I had a son that graduated from S&T. He was a soccer player, so I was on that campus a lot and more familiar with it. But the amount of building that you've done, the changes that you have, your team that you've put in place, and that's the same with the other 2 chancellors I didn't mention, but their administrative team and the people that help them run their campuses, their universities, is so important. And getting your right people, and you get all aligned with the right vision. You've all done, from what I can tell, a very good job of it, and you have my congratulations. And thank you for serving your university and our system. Now, our final chancellor is really the president. He wears 2 hats. And Moon Choi, you are an inspiration to me. You are tireless. You are bold. You reach out to the students. You know, my wife is here, and by the way, my wife and my son are here. And one of the things I remember the most, I was downtown on a football weekend. We were getting ready to go to the Missouri 100 meeting, and there's Moon walking down the street. Says, "You going to the meeting?" "Yeah, well, come walk with me." So you walk with him. You're not with him for a couple blocks, and the students stop him. "Moon, how you doing? Can we take a selfie with you?" I think one of them named their dog after you or something. Do you remember that? I mean, hey, I shouldn't say this probably, but when I was at the University of Missouri as an undergrad, I really didn't know who the chancellor was. Okay, I mean, come on. But he walks the campus, much like especially Mo. I've walked the campus with Mo many times, and I've got campus tours from all the chancellors. But he loves the students, and they love him. So those are the people I wanted to mention. I don't want to leave anybody out, but they in the resolution they did mention that I was involved with healthcare, and Dr. Rick Barron. Thank you for all you do. And then Rick Ransom. There's Rick 1 and Rick 2, okay? And you've done a great job with the Children's Hospital, just one thing after another. And then also, I spent a lot of time with Matt Sanford. Now, this project that we have for the new nuclear reactor is a huge project. It's going to be multi-billion-dollar. It's going to be a long-term. He's put a wonderful team together. And it's amazing, these very astute individuals in that nuclear arena, Mizzou grads. They're Mizzou grads. Klein, Hein. It's just amazing. So I just wanted to mention those people. And then finally, I got a couple things to say, and then I'm out of here. We appreciate the donors that give to our various universities. Never forget them. I just got to congratulate them, whether I know them or not. Most of them I don't know, but I know that they have their own story, and they have the reasons they love whatever campus that they attended. Never forget them. And then the other things, one of the most important duties we have on the board is financially. We receive money from the state of Missouri. We receive money from the federal government. But that money comes from the hard-working citizens and taxpayers of the state of Missouri. Never forget them, and never forget their children that come to our universities. Besides paying the taxes, those parents pay the tuition too, many times. So they're the ones we're doing this for. The most important people, we've got the staff, we've got the faculty, we've got the leaders with all the different titles. The most important people on our campuses are the students. When we make decisions and you get ready to take a vote, be sure that you have asked, how is this going to affect the students? Because that's what we're here for. With that, I'll say good luck to you all. It was a pleasure to serve on this board, big responsibility, and I have one more person to thank. Last Sunday was my 40th wedding anniversary. 40. My wife, Kathy, is here. She's my confidant and my partner. I want to thank her for the time and the support she gives me. With that, thank you all very much.
I've served on boards before, but what's unique about this board is we're a rolling board. So we have members, we have new members, and things change and people move on. But I did some math, and I'm sure it's off, but that's why I went to law school, because I can't do math. But I think if we've been here approximately 175 years, and terms are 6 years, and there are 9 people on the board. And I know maybe some years terms were different or the numbers were different, but there have probably been fewer than 300 people who've served on the board of curators. But it continues to roll on. And when I was in college here, not far from here, in an initiation ceremony, someone read a poem to me. And it's one of the few, you don't remember a lot of things that are good for you from college, but one of the few things I've remembered my entire time when I've been in public service, I've kept a copy of this in the right drawer of my desk because I think it's so instructive. And it's called The Torch, and I'm going to read it. I'm not a poem guy, but I'll do the best I can. The God of great endeavor gave me a torch to bear. I lifted it high above me in the dark and murky air. And straightway with loud hosannas, the crowd proclaimed its light and followed me as I carried my torch through the starless night. Till drunk with people's praises and mad with vanity, I forgot 'twas the torch they followed and fancied they followed me. Then slowly my arm grew weary, upholding the shining load, and my tired feet went stumbling over the dusty road, and I fell with the torch beneath me. In a moment the light was out, when lo from the throng a stripling sprang forth with a mighty shout, caught up the torch and it smoldered and lifted high and tall, till fanned by the winds of heaven, it fired the souls of all. As I lay in the darkness, the feet of the trampling crowd passed over and far beyond me, its paeans proclaiming aloud. And I learned in the deepening twilight the glorious verity. 'Tis the torch that people follow, whoever the bearer may be. And I think when I think of Robin and Keith, finishing their time, and some of us have a few more years and some of us have many more years, I think of that. And I also think of the university when the academic hall burned. The president of the Board of Curators at that time said, let these columns stand for 1,000 years. And that's our horizon. I think we've got about 800 more, give or take, to go. And we think of the continuum of the people who've been on this board and who hold that up, but we're really holding up the university. And I think that the board members who I've served with, they've not served for themselves, they've served for the good of the university. And I want to congratulate particularly Robin and Keith on their service and thank you. So with that, I don't think you'll get another poem out of me because that's the only one I've got. So as a note, before we close, the press conference will not be after the meetings. It'll be at 4:30 or 4:30 at Brewer Field House. At this time, I'd like to open the floor for any additional items for the good and welfare of the board.
So I understand that Mr. Madison Baker is here with some congressional statements for our two curators that we just learned about. So Madison?
Yeah.
So if I may ask Curator Winokur and Curator Holloway to join Madison.
I didn't know I was coming up here. I would have wore a suit, but from where I'm from, I guess overalls is the baseline. So I'm doing better than that. But wanted to extend the Congressman's congratulations to his former colleague, Congressman Luetkemeyer, and our representative in the 8th District, Mr. John Raines. So appreciate that. Also have two letters here from Congressman Smith for Curator Winokur and former Curator Winokur. Yeah, Curator Emeritus, and to our friend Keith Holloway. So appreciate their service on the board, and Bob Fry, good to see you, buddy. Want to extend the congratulations, so thank you.
All right. Any other items for the good and welfare of the board? Hearing no further comments, may I have a motion and a second to move into executive session?
So moved.
I have a motion and second. Valerie, please call the roll.
Curator Blitz,
Yes.
Curator Fry,
Yes.
Curator Graves,
Yes.
Curator Cruzen,
Yes.
Curator Lehman,
Yes.
Curator Lukemeyer,
Yes.
Curator Raines,
Aye.
Curator Sinkfield,
Yes.
Curator Williams.
Yep.
You have all votes in favor.
All right, this concludes the public portion of our meeting. Thanks for coming.